Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So, a lot of you have been asking about this motorcycle that's been tucked away over in the corner of the shop, in the background of the videos. This is a 1992 Suzuki Intruder, 1400cc, dual carb, pretty nasty bike. It's kind of chopper style, you know, it's been all kinds of hacked up. It's been sitting for 10 years. So, I figured what we would do is let's just make a video getting it all straightened out. It's covered with overspray and dust. I mean, come over here and look at this. Look how thick. This is bad, y'all. I'm kind of embarrassed by this, but I mean, seriously, it's pretty bad. Believe it or not, there's a nice bike underneath all this, so I figured there's just nothing to it but to do it. I've kind of went in and got a few things loose on it. What this bike is in real need of is it needs the tank cleaned out. It needs the carburetor rebuilt. We do have a carburetor rebuild kit on the way, but I figured while we're waiting on it to get here, let's just get started getting everything else done. I want all of it done. I got some welding I need to do on the exhaust. Tons of cleanup like I mentioned. And I want to do something about the seat. I hate this seat. This ain't the seat that used to be on it. I sold it. I shouldn't have. I'm regretting it. So I'm going to try to find that seat and go with it because this one sucks. We got busted up tail light over here. It's going to have to get replaced as well. So anyway, let's just jump into it. Let's see, up under here, it's got these little clamps I'm going to have to get undone. Hose clamps. There's that one. Let's see here. There we go. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and label these before I get too carried away. I don't think it matters though. I really don't. But I will label them just in case. So there we go. There's that. Man, that's pretty simple. It just had a couple of bolts that I pulled out off of camera. That's all that you missed on that. So anyway, we're going to get this all cleaned up. It does have a little dent here in case I failed to mention that. We're going to do a little body work, fix that up. Boy, I'm sweating all over the place here. It is hot one today, y'all. This seat, it only has one bolt that holds it on. Goes right there. So that's really easy to get off. Yeah, I don't like the shape of the seat. The other one that we had, it fit into the profile a little bit better. And it wasn't just goofy like an old bicycle seat, you know, it looked way better. So we're gonna upgrade that for sure. Let's get that out of the way. Let's see, I've got a little impact already set up here. I figured we would just, well, wrong side. Here we go. Got my impact set up here. We'll get these side covers off. I want to repaint all of this stuff, so get this one off while we're at it. The cool thing about these side covers is they're made out of metal. These aren't plastic like a lot of them you see, so pretty durable stuff there. Held up over the years. A lot of times you get these old bikes, you know, these side covers are all broken and you got to piece them all back together, and we don't have to do that on this one. It's all metal. Yeah, come in here and look, you'll see what I'm talking about. Look how nasty the carburetor is. It's got all kinds of junk down in it. Yeah, these carbs are going to have to come off and get clean. Oh man, look in here. We got a critter. It's supposed to have an elbow here, which I have. But it was off, so stuff got in there, man. Yep, that's not good. This little work table set up. We'll do some body work. Yeah, there we go, that'll work nice. This is gonna be simple and very basic on this. Apologize for the fan, but man, it's like 100 degrees out here today. We don't even have to pull this. It's so superficial, I could just about leave it, but I'm not going to. It's right out here on the edge, right on the little style line where it rolls over. So it'll be, you know, once we repaint all this, that's gonna be very noticeable. So yeah, I'm just gonna start off with a piece of 80 grit sandpaper. Go ahead and just rough up the area. This is really easy to do. Most any of you can do this with basic stuff. you just buy from Walmart. When it comes to this little stuff like this, now what I like to do is, you notice I've worked it from more than just one direction. I didn't just go back and forth. We went up and down, kind of like a crosshatch type of a pattern, right? And then just get down in here and make sure that you work down inside of there, man. You definitely want to make sure that this stuff, the filler, is going to stick. So you want to get that down to the bare metal. The filler that we're about to use, it likes to go over bare metal. It's just that cheap Bondo brand filler you get at Walmart. I think it cost us about $10, $12, something like that. And that's all we're going to use. And that should do just fine on this. And we're not going to open up a super big area. We're going to keep it very local. So that's about all you're going to do on that. Now we're going to clean it off. Okay, so at this point, I'm just going to take some spray-away glass cleaner. We're going to clean this up really nice. That old spray-away, man, I'll tell you what, that is really good stuff. Now, if this was like greasy and nasty, I would start off with acetone. But being that this is actually clean enough, I mean, it ain't greasy and nasty or anything, so the spray-away will work just fine as like just a kind of a nice little cleaner here. Just keep going until the paper towel is clean and doesn't have any more of the stuff on it. You see there, we're doing pretty good at this point. Now it's time for our filler. Now, like I said, this is just stuff we're using from Walmart over here. I think this cost me about 12 bucks. It used to be even cheaper than that, you know. That's the inflated price, so even at the inflated price, it's not too bad. We're just gonna, this is probably about all we're gonna need right there, right off the lid. Get out of here. We'll take the, this is the hardener. You have to have it or that won't work. So I'm gonna take it to squeeze just a little bit. We're gonna put the lid back on. That just kind of pushes a little bit of the air out. And then we're gonna roll it. It's kind of like kneading dough, you know. We'll roll it around. We'll flip it over this way. We'll roll it around some more. There you go. That's about all you're gonna have to do. And all that's gonna do is, it's kind of like ketchup, you know. If you don't do that, all you're gonna squirt out is liquid. You don't want that, so that just prevents that. So here we go. I always kind of put it off to the side. And then when I'm ready to mix, I'll toss it in there. And then we'll start mixing. You see what I'm doing here? I'm not, you know, I'm not stirring it. You don't want to stir this stuff. If you'll stir air into it, that's not going to work. So this is how we do it. Keeps, you know, getting it off of this. You want to get it off the spreader and get it back to mixing. So here we go. Now that we got that, let's just keep it going. Now we can wipe it right over our dent. When you're wiping your filler, you want to kind of go from both directions and work that air out. Don't want any air in there, you'll end up with voids. Now you could go, you know, kind of go around the edge. This will help you when you're sanding. Something like that. That ought to be good enough for that little bitty dent. We're going to clean up our mud board here. Scrape it all up on there. Take what was left of that paper towel we just used to clean that. Wipe it off the spreader. Come back over here to our acetone. I'll put just a little bit on a paper towel. Wear your gloves. Don't be like me. Wear your gloves. And then we're going to clean the spreader. And that is in real time pretty much how you would go about fixing a dent. You just got to kind of keep it rolling, man. You don't want to stop You just don't want to stop, man. You want to keep going. And there you go, man. We are done from start to finish. Now all we got to do is give that just a few minutes. It won't take long out in this heat for that to firm up, and then we could go back, hit it with our sandpaper. We'll knock it down. We'll use the whole 45-degree, crosshatch pattern like we always talk about. We'll talk more about it in just a minute. Let's let that set up. That literally, that only took like a couple of minutes. So here we go, man. 80 grit sandpaper. Let's go. Now, you notice when I'm sanding this, it's not getting super dusty. Look at that. You see how big the dust particles are? That's because the mud isn't super hard yet. Look at this. We're just going to use our wire brush there, just kind of keep our board clean, That way it doesn't clog up. Some people, I see this all the time, when they're doing their filler work, they wait for the filler to become hard as a rock, like concrete, and then that's when they start sanding it. And I don't like doing that. I always hit my filler right when it's at this point here. You'll figure it out as you go, the sweet spot. And for me, on a day like today, with the amount of hardener that I used, it only took a couple minutes and we were there. So you see, it kind of gets stuck on the paper. Look, that's all you got to do, man. And then now we're going to come back from this way. You remember, we're doing 45-degree angles on this. That means crosshatch pattern. We go this way, and then we go this way, and that makes an X, right? And that's what you want. That's the only way you're going to get this straight. If I was to try to go back and forth and all of that, this would be a disaster. So this is the only way to do it. You have to go 45-degree angles just like this, crosshatch pattern, and roll over this edge. You see how I'm doing that? I'm not stopping. I'm rolling all the way over the edge. I'm keeping my board all the way across the low spot. I'm not bringing my board back here, and then dipping into the low spot. We keep the board all the way across the low spot here. And just roll right over that edge, just like this. We'll keep going until hopefully the low spot goes away. If not, no big deal. We will just add a very light skim coat. I mean, that's all it's going to be, man. It'll be so light. Now you see what's happening here. You see how we're burning right here? Look, we've got a shiny spot. That means we're pretty much gone as far as we can go. We don't have much left, and if we still have a low spot at this point, which we kind of do, you can barely see it there. You see that? I mean, it's very small. We'll give this a few more passes, and if it doesn't go away, we're gonna have to re-wipe the area. I'm gonna call that good. I mean, I'm feeling this, and that feels nice. We're gonna glaze the area. That ought to take care of the rest of that little time, and you can barely see it. I'm gonna peel the sticker off here. I thought it'd be kind of funny to save it, just for sentimental reasons, It's been on here forever. All right, we actually saved it. Cool. All right, a little shot memento there. There we go. Cool. So I switched over to my 120. We're just going to go through and kind of smooth up our 80 grit scratches. I'm just going to kind of skim over it. Not going to get too carried away. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and sand the entire tank down with some 320 grit sandpaper, and then at that point we can prime in this area, wait for it to dry, block it out, and then it'll be ready to paint. It's been a little while since I've opened this. I'm hoping that it all still works good. Okay, so it is turning. That's always a plus. There we go. It's always good. Okay, now we can sand this whole tank down. Got me some good 320 grit sandpaper. This is 3M. This is wet or dry paper. And I'm gonna sand this whole thing down. Like I had mentioned, this ought to clean everything up really nice. All I'm using is soapy water in a spray bottle. That way we're cleaning and we're sanding at the same time. I apologize for the fan noise, y'all. It was bound to come on sooner or later. So anyway, yeah, we'll get all this cleaned up. You see how much better that green paint's starting to look? Once you get all the overspray off, I mean, look at that. That looks so much nicer. Show you guys the difference here. This is what we want it to look like. This is what it's supposed to look like over on this side, and that's how much overspray is on it. A lot of it came from that thing over there. Some of you guys are like, man, you're gonna get water in your tank. We're gonna flush this whole thing out, so I'm really not too worried about it. We get a few drops in there, it ain't gonna hurt nothing. That tank is pretty dirty, it looks like. I'm looking down in, I don't even know if you can see in there, but I'm seeing, can y'all see that? It's got some funk going on there, so she's definitely gonna need to be cleaned out before we put everything all back together again. So I'm not too worried if we get just a little bit of water in there. We'll run us a little glaze. Now that I've got the surrounding area, everything's all cleaned up now. I just want to really lightly glaze this area. I mean, really thinly. Look at this. I'm barely even putting any material on at all. And you know what? I found a tiny little dent right here. I mean, it was so small, barely even see it. Figured, hey, why not fix it? Might as well, right? We're already here. All right, so the mud, you see that? It's tightening up on me. We better get moving. All right, that's all she's gonna give us right there. That's all we're gonna get. Sanding down my glaze. Do it just the same way you did the filler in the beginning. Crosshatch pattern. There's my little tiny little dent. Almost missed that one. Caught it. The light hit it just right. I was like, hey, there's another dent there. So I'm glad I caught it when I did. That way we can go ahead and just knock it out and move on. So anyway, I'm gonna just move ahead with this and get it all nice and smooth. And we'll hit it up with some primer. The whole rest of it's been sanded now, so once I get past this little spot, we can hit it up with a few good, nice thick coats of primer. That'll even everything out. We'll block it down with some 320 grit sandpaper, and that'll be the end of it, man. It'll be time to actually paint it after that. So, pretty easy, you know. This is just a basic little dent repair. Nothing crazy. We didn't break out any special tools on this one. A lot of times if the dent's real bad, you'll want to pull it out first with a dent puller, stud gun, something. But this one wasn't severe enough, so I thought, hey, it'd be kind of cool to make a little video on how to make little simple repairs with basic stuff you can get at Harbor Freight, Walmart, or what have you. We haven't broke out any kind of special air tools or anything so far, so anyway, I'll keep sanding this till it's nice and smooth. If we have any more imperfections, what we'll do is we'll use just some putty, just some glazing putty, and that will fill in like if you have any pinholes or anything like that, which I don't see any. So all I gotta do is finish smoothing that up. We'll be good to go. Got a glazing putty here. Cool stuff here, man. The cool thing is it doesn't need any kind of a hardener or anything. You just put it on and it dries really quick. And it's for any kind of little imperfections that you might be left with when you're done. Take your razor blade, a brand new razor blade, and wipe this stuff on here. It dries almost as fast as you're wiping it. I think that'll get it. I had a couple little spots there. I think that'll get it. We'll clean up the side covers right quick. Just some 320 grit sandpaper, just like on the tank. These don't need any kind of work done to them, no body work or anything, so all we got to do is scuff them and shoot them. We'll knock down the nitro stand. I mean, you barely even touch it with the sandpaper, and look at that, it knocks it down that fast. So, I mean, it's literally that easy. I mean, you just barely, look at that. Look at that, just like that, it comes right off. I didn't put any pressure on the paper or nothing. And all you're left with, looky there, can you see where it's actually in the scratches and everything? That's what that stuff's for, man. It fills in them very minor imperfections. So that's it, man. We'll clean it up, and it's time for primer. All right, so this is the primer we're using. Again, just stuff you get at Walmart. This is just a sandable primer. It ought to be good. We're just gonna dust a little bit on there. We're gonna build up some light coats. We'll let that flash for a few minutes. We'll come back, hit it probably 2 more times just like that, and then we can block it out after it dries. All right, here we are. I hosed it down with 3 really good heavy coats after that first one y'all saw. So I guess 4 coats altogether. We're gonna sand most of that back off, but that ought to get us good. Here we go, man. We got some guide coat here. Check it out. This is the good stuff. This is actual guide coat sent to us by a subscriber, Eugene from New York. Thank you for that. Now, I normally just use some old spray paint I might have laying around. If you do that, it's fine, but just use like a flat or a satin. Don't use gloss or it'll gum up your sandpaper. But that's what I normally do. But thanks to my loyal subscribers, man, they got me being all fancy over here with the good stuff. So all you want to do with this is just barely, look at that. You see how look at that. That's all you want. Just that little bit. That's it. It dries pretty much instantly. And once that dries, we could come back in and start block sanding. I'm going to go with some 400 grit. I've got me a little block here, and we're just going to start going right over that. I'm going to do it wet. Now, this is just an old spray bottle I've got, and I'm using it to spray my water with. So, no, this is not, what's on this is not what's in it. It's just pure water, soapy water, actually. And I'm just going to kind of start sanding on this. Let's see if I can hold this on here. This isn't exactly the block that's made for this sandpaper. I'm just making it work. That's what we do here. We just make it work. So just like before, man, when we were doing the filler, we're gonna do that crosshatch pattern. I can't tell you guys that enough. It's very important that you do that so that we get this all nice and straight. So now that we've gone that way, let me hit it up with some more water. Just go ahead and spray all this back down again. When you spray your block and the paper and the backside of your paper, all that, it'll help it stick to your board a little better. And like I said, we might be fighting with this just a little bit, but we're gonna make it work. So yeah, it's important that when you get to this stage that you block out your primer, or otherwise you're gonna get some waviness and stuff like that going. But you see here, you see what's happening? That's what the guide coat is for. It's literally guiding us along, letting us know where we're at. And as we go, all of the guide coat's gonna disappear, and all you're gonna be left with is the gray. And if there are any dark spots, you know you're gonna have, they're low. That'll be a low spot. And you'll either need to keep sanding until it goes away, or you'll need to go back and fill the spot, one or the other. Otherwise, you're gonna see it when you paint it. So that's the reason why we do it like this. I know some of you have probably seen cars running around town that look like somebody just went through and like misted black paint on it. And you're like, what is that? Well, that's why they do it. And they just hadn't had a chance to block it back down yet. So I'm gonna keep going with this. I'll come back here in a few minutes, show you where we're at with it. We'll get all this all blocked out really nice. When we come back, it should just be all gray at this point. We'll see, let's find out. Well, that just about takes care of that. We'll get it all rinsed back off. You can see there where all the black guide coat has been sanded away, and we're just left with the gray now. That's exactly what we want. So we'll get it all cleaned off now, and then there's nothing left to do but paint it at that point. But we definitely want to give it a nice thorough cleaning first. We'll go back over it with the spray away glass cleaner, the whole 9 yards, tack cloths, you know the deal. And then we'll start spraying some paint. Let's get our spray away on here just like before. We'll give it a nice final little wipe down. As you can see, we're dirty again, you know, you got all that green dust on there. And when it comes time to final wipe, getting it ready for paint, I'll usually just kind of go through here and just wipe one swipe and then flip my rag over, you know. That way I'm not redistributing dirt anywhere. I'm just wiping it off, getting rid of it. It seems like if you try to wipe back and forth, you know, during this final step of cleaning, you know, before you put your paint on, you kind of run the risk of, you know, going back and forth, that you're going to, you know, you're just going to wipe it this way and then bring it right back across, right? So I typically will just wipe, flip the rag, find another clean spot, and then hit it again. One single pass, and just repeat that process over and over again until the rag's no good. Get rid of it. Don't be afraid to use your rags, man. Be very liberal with your rags. You don't want to go sparingly on that. You might be saving yourself a few bucks, but you're running the risk of ending up with like fish eyes and different things like that if you don't get this stuff clean. I can't stress it enough. Cleanliness is very, very important when it comes to prepping for your paint. So we're getting pretty clean. We're getting to the point now where I could wipe across it and not see anything on the rag. So yeah, you see, we're doing pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish that up, and then we'll start painting. Go ahead and throw a little tape on here. I don't want paint, rather. I don't want paint building up around this edge, because it'll make my gas cap not want to fit good later. So I'm going to go ahead and just take a minute to kind of mask that off. Nothing major, real easy, and that'll just keep that from building up around that lip. I think it'll help us in the long run. Quick pass with our tack cloth and we are good to go. All right, there we go. I think we're ready, man. I've been shaking this paint up for a few minutes now. Let's get started. I'm gonna start down here. You want your first coat to be kind of light, you know, nothing heavy. Oh, she's looking better already. Look at that. What I like to do is I like to start from one side and work my way all the way across. Some of you guys might start in the middle. I think you're better off to start from one side and work your way to the other side, just because you'll get this wet edge right here in the middle. And to me, that's really important that we kind of maintain that all the way across. That way we don't get it dry shot stripe right down the middle, right? This will kind of help us with that. And this is just the first coat. So we're just concentrating on getting it on there at this point. We don't want to build it up really thick right now. This is kind of what they call a tack coat. This is the coat that's going to have the other coat stick to it, you know what I mean? So by the time you work your way across on this, depending on the temperature outdoors, we're really hot today, so chances are we could probably just about start and go again, but I'll give it a minute. We're still a little shiny over here. This is kind of a satiny, almost a flat finish, so if it's still shiny right now, you know it's still a little too wet. We may just wait just a couple more minutes, hit it up with another coat. We'll go 3 coats all together and it should be good. About to finish up the second coat here. All right, that's coat number 2. You want to take him around, give him a little look at it. What do you think? Can you see any body? I don't see the bodywork. That's always a plus. Putting on the 3rd and final coat right now. Well, okay, there it is, man. It's done. It's dent free, and she's looking good again, man. That's how I remember this bike. It was always nice, cool, kind of army color, you know, the old green with the black and everything. It just looked, it was killer, man. It just fit the bike perfectly. So it's cool to see it back to good again. That is awesome. Now we got a few more pieces we got to paint still, but that's okay. I'm not gonna bore you guys too much with that. I just want to throw a couple videos at you guys about the bike, you know, getting it ready to sell and then selling it. And that's basically all this is going to be. We're not going to do a lot of videos on this. So one more part is probably all we're going to get out of this one. And then off she goes, man. It'd be kind of fun to see how much it goes for. I do have to admit. I'm hearing that the bike market is doing pretty good right now. You know, gas prices being so high and all. So this is the perfect time for somebody to justify buying a bike, you know, to their wives or whatever. Hey, we're going to save so much money on gas, right? So anyway, it seems to be working. There's a lot of people out there selling their bikes, lots of bikes being bought. So I figured I would jump in on the market. What better time to do that, right? So we're going to kind of do this quick flip style. We're just going to get it done and send it. The cool part is the bike was bought and paid for over 10, 12 years ago. So this is mostly going to be profit on this one, you guys. That is awesome. Everything we're going to do with just regular basic stuff. That's going to be the theme of this whole thing, just like usual. Typical Weird Beard style, man. We do this stuff DIY style. We do it on the cheap. And somehow we still end up with pretty dang decent results. Here's another perfect example of that. You guys remember the roof, man. That thing's still doing good. We're getting the interior put together on this one. If you guys haven't seen these videos, you need to go check them out, man. 1972 Plymouth Fury. We're having a lot of fun with this one. We are turning it around kind of inside out on this one. And it's coming along. It's coming along. So thought I'd give you an update on that one since I do get a lot of people asking me about the Fury. Don't worry. We're going to kind of do a loop on these things. And every once in a while, you'll see a video on this one, a video on this one. We got one more to go on this one. And then we got to get back on that F-150. I know a lot of you guys are ready to see the engine on that one. And yeah, man, I'm ready to get it back in. So be on the lookout for videos on that one too. So anyway, I'm going to get on out of here. Please like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. I will see you guys later, man. Thanks for joining me.